James Austin Smith.
I'm assuming.
Unfortunately, this is not another summer of James in which we encountered each other in 3 different festivals, but here we are twice this summer, so at least I count myself a bit lucky.
It is twice the delight.
Twice the delight. But here we are in Bridgehampton, at the Bridgehampton Festival, and we're playing Mozart's Oboe Quartet tonight. And you have a very unusual looking oboe, and I don't know anything about these instruments. So I'm wondering if you could teach me a little bit. Why is your instrument not black? And why have you named it?
Yeah. My oboe is made of maple.
Maple.
And maple is a wood that was not dense enough to withstand the pressure that comes from a conical bore.
That's how you make these things, right? It's you bore through
wood.
it.
And the thing about the oboe that is problematic for so many reasons is that it's narrow at the top and wider at the bottom, which puts especially the top joint under enormous amounts of stress. So if the wood is not dense enough, it just splits.
So how many pieces is this made
It's
out
in
of?
3.
3 pieces. Okay.
Here,
See,
you can hold it. 1.
I've never held an oboe before.
And then 2.
Wow.
And then 3. And then the reed.
And then the reed. Okay. Is this one piece of wood?
Yes. Yes, this one is.
So then they cut it up
They're not always
so
like
that you can
but-
pack it away.
Right.
Okay.
They cut it.
So what goes into making it? Is it into making an oboe? Is it made by one person?
I imagine
Or,
it's a little
like,
bit of a team.
several people,
But
yeah.
this was overseen by one guy in Germany, who sort of oversaw the process and then did all the final adjustments to it.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's made by a company in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why did you go maple instead of
It was not-
what, ebony? Is ebony the traditional wood?
Granadilla.
Granadilla.
Akin to ebony.
Right.
An African
A
hardwood.
very dense,
Super dense.
hard to work with.
Hard to work with. Is denser and yet still cracks quite easily, so it has to be aged for a long time.
Okay.
Often like up to 14, 15 years.
Okay.
I was not intending to buy a maple oboe, but I picked it up and it weighs about half as much as an oboe made of granadilla because the wood is that much less dense. And because of that lack of density, it vibrates much more freely. And so we have that like trope of the oboe player as like existing in struggle at all times.
Is that right?
Right? Like, because like you have this tiny opening through which you're trying to make these 2 pieces of wood vibrate against each other, and then you're blowing into something that kind of doesn't want to vibrate. Right? The wood is so dense it doesn't want to vibrate.
Right.
So you're basically just like working all the time.
Okay. And this alleviates that.
This makes it a little bit better. In fact, it makes it much more pleasurable, to the point where now that I have gone down this road, I don't think I'll ever go back.
So is everyone going to start using maple oboes?
Oboe players are resistant to change.
Traditionalists.
You could say that.
Okay.
So it's very hard for players to see something, first of all, move towards maybe a brand that they don't know or is not the brand they're used to playing.
Sure.
And this brand is a brand called Gebrüder Munich, Brothers Munich in Germany. And especially to see something they're not used to seeing. That is very distressing.
Right.
To oboe
You could
players.
spray paint it. I could help with that.
You could spray paint it, but it would no longer be as glam as it is right
Yeah.
now.
So and that's partially why you've named this instrument?
She, her name was very clear to me pretty early on. I will say it was one suggested by a colleague, but it was basically, I mean, that was like, it was the egg waiting to hatch. It was so clear. Her name is Marlene. She's named after Marlene Dietrich, because Marlene Dietrich was incredibly beautiful, incredibly talented, German, and basically on the right side of history for like almost 100 years.
Yeah.
She was badass.
Okay.
Yeah, and this oboe's pretty badass.
And you've also named it because it has such personality.
Yeah, but instruments all have names, don't they? Does yours not have a name?
No, I haven't named my instrument. Yeah.
Well, Maybe that's what's missing.
Yeah, I welcome suggestions.
Bertha.
Bertha. It's a good name for a viola, Bertha. Sorry,
Indeed.
Bertha's out there.
Yeah.
So why are they able to make an oboe out of maple now, whereas in the past they were not?
It was described to me that there's like some guy near Dresden who figured out a way to treat it such that it then wouldn't crack. And the cracking is like the number one issue that oboe players have with their instruments.
And is that cracking when they're making it or cracking when you own it?
Yes.
When you're playing it? All of it?
All the time cracking.
Okay.
And it is now these days almost unheard of to find an instrument that has not cracked in some place or other. My oboe has not cracked, knock on wood,
Right.
in 5 years.
And do you have to just be very nice to it with
Nope.
humidity and?
I do take care of it in the sense like you don't take it from like super strong AC to like, outdoor like super humid whatever. Like you have to treat it with respect, right?
Sure.
But no, I don't coddle it, to put it that way. And I play it's the only oboe that I have.
Yeah.
And I play it every day, often many hours a day.
Okay, so what's this other instrument you've
So
got?
this
Also maple?
is also maple. This is like kind of even more beautiful. This is an oboe of love.
Oboe d'amore.
Oboe d'amore, an oboe of love.
You know, there's a viola d'amore too.
I had heard of that. Yeah.
So maybe they should play some duets.
Yeah.
Or someone should write some duets.
Yeah, let's make that happen.
Okay.
After you.
So tell me about this instrument.
This instrument, so the oboe d'amore is a little bit longer than the oboe.
Okay.
You can see it's about 2 inches longer.
So
than the
lower
oboe.
pitch,
It's
presumably.
it's a minor third lower than the oboe, and it has a little cute little bocal.
A little what?
Bocal.
Bocal.
A bocal
With a B.
is this little metal thing.
Okay.
It's the same thing that's on a bassoon that comes
Right.
out like this, also called a bocal. We just have a very teeny cute little bocal.
Okay. And what's the difference between this and a cor d'anglais?
A cor anglais is simply.
There's no D in there, right?
There's
Cor
no D.
anglais.
It's okay though.
English horn.
It's just a little bit longer than this.
Okay.
So they sort of came up, maybe they were basically kind of in keys, right? So the oboe is in C, the oboe d'amore is in A, and the English horn is in F.
Okay.
And you see that like in Bach, you see Bach chose the specific instruments. Well,
Is that a vocal in your mouth?
that's a reed.
Oh, it's a reed.
Like Bach chose the specific instruments based on the keys, or he chose the keys based on the specific instruments. But often you play things in A major on the oboe d'amore because that is actually C major that we're actually playing.
I see.
So it exists. It's happy in that key.
So you have 3 instruments?
Yeah.
But you have with you right now too.
No, I have a.
Oh, you really? Okay. Do you always carry 3 instruments?
No, it's super annoying.
Okay.
But I need them next week, so I'll
Yeah.
carry them.
And do you use the same reed
No, you have to make different reeds for each one.
for each instrument?
Yeah. So this is a little oboe d'amore reed. You can hear the difference. Like,
And do you color label them so you know what they're for?
not
Or
really.
you just look at it and you're like, that's my oboe reed?
No, I was using red, and then I started using blue, and then I used some green.
Ah.
Like, you can hear the difference though. Oboe. Here's oboe d'amore. It's a little bit like wider, rounder kind of sound.
How long does it take you to make a reed?
Too long.
Okay. Like 5
It's
minutes?
a multi-stage process for me.
Okay.
It takes place over a number of days.
Okay, so you're like refining this thing.
Right.
And you think about it, you dream about it, and you wake up and you say, I need to shave a little bit off of here. Or does it change over the course of the days?
It changes over the course of the days. It also changes where you are. So
Uh-huh.
it's super humid in Bridgehampton, and we're like right by the ocean. So my reeds are just being super different from what they were last week up in Vermont, for example.
Okay.
And
Also humid, but not the ocean.
also humid, but not the ocean. Yeah, well, a little drier than here. And tonight's going to be interesting because we're playing outdoors. So then it's like, okay, let's see what happens.
Right.
Yeah. So you can't, I think one of the things that is most problematic about the oboe is that oboe players have a tendency to get precious about their reeds. And you may have heard oboe players before talking about how they have to make reeds, and like that is
oboe
correct.
voice? That's
It's
oboe
like
voice.
it's like super whiny reed voice. Yeah, it's recognizable globally. It is correct. We do have to make reeds. That
Okay.
is correct. But we are not carpenters.
Yeah, but a lot of your kind of learning process, like in lessons and things, your teacher teaches you how to make a reed, right?
I was really lucky. It's like, some would think this is crazy, but I was quite lucky that my teachers didn't spend a lot of time making reeds with me. So
That's
it
lucky.
meant I had to figure out a lot myself.
Okay.
But what it really meant was that I spent more of my lessons talking about music. And, you know, that is the sort of thing we're doing,
Yeah.
is playing music, not making reeds.
So you learned how to make reeds on YouTube.
Kind of. I bet there are people who are learning to make reeds on YouTube. Actually, I think it's like for people who live in places where they can't easily access instruction. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
but no, it was just more. I just figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we hear you play some of these fine instruments?
Okay. That was Pan by Benjamin Britten. It's from his set of solo pieces called Six Metamorphoses After Ovid. So you weren't missing anything else. It's just for oboe. There's nothing else. A few notes from the Oboe d'Amore Concerto by Johann Sebastian Bach. You got to swab it out because there's water in there. You know what I mean? Well, look, if you put warm air down a tube, it's going to start condensing. So it's condensation. Okay, it's not spit. Just everybody relax. This is the best instrument. The Oboe d'Amore. This is the sleeper best instrument. Everyone knows that. Maybe it's a sleeper, so no one knows that. It has two bells. Cool, right? Right? Okay. So that one we put away. That sound. That's the sound of German engineering. All bad. They're all bad. It's my life. It's just riveting television. I'm really glad that we're adding this to the internet. It's the kind of content that I think the people are asking for. They do fit really nicely in the case, and we have this cool spring-loaded case. See that? So it keeps the instruments off the floor of the case, which keeps them in better adjustment. Again, made in Germany. You want to see one last cute thing? Check it out. It's a carry-on. Watch. Just watch. This is huge. English horn. Oboe d'amore. Oboe. Bob's your uncle.